Hello, and welcome back to the Authentic Creative, expanding our capacity to feel good. I am delighted you may recognize my guest because she is one of my favorite people, first of all. That's why she's on the podcast so much. She brings me so much joy and delight and magic and love. And that's why she's here. But she's been here, excuse me. My dad was like, haven't you interviewed her before? And I was like, yes, several times, many times. She's definitely up there with like one of the people that I've interviewed more than anybody else.
Mhm.
So I am joined by Robyn Cohen, a
Mhm.
multifaceted actress, director, and educator with over 30 years of experience across theater, film, and television, a graduate of Juilliard and George Washington University's Shakespeare Theater Company Academy. Robyn has starred in productions like The Life Aquatic, Cabaret, Gravity, and NCIS, and has directed numerous plays both in the US and internationally. She's also the founder of the Cohen Acting Studio in Burbank, California, where she mentors the next generation of actors with heart, craft, and depth. And what's not mentioned here it's hard to encapsulate Robyn. She's been in an incredible amount of theater and an incredible amount of film and television. So you can go on to IMDb, which will list the film and television roles, most of them, and then also all the theater. You can just message her if you want to. But I have some questions lined up here because I said to Robyn, what should we talk about? And she left me one of her epic life giving voice audios that she like interacting with Robyn is always a life altering process. And I took that and I was like, okay, let's make this into some questions. And here we go on our magic carpet ride. So, oh, by the way, Robyn has a podcast that I was just on and she's going to release my episode soon. So, is it still called the Joyride?
Yeah. You can find it. It's The Daily Joyride with Robyn Cohen. Although I will be sort of adding Thriving Artists, The Daily Joyride with Robyn Cohen, because
Yes.
of interactions that I've had with people like you, Siri. There are other ideas that I want to bring into the world of this podcast. So, yes, and Siri's episode is unbelievable and it's out next week. So, just zoom in and tune in and get your hearts exploded into joy and creativity and authenticity. Thank you. And thank you for your introduction, Siri.
Oh,
Thank you.
you're so welcome. I'm really excited to dive in because you are a wealth of knowledge and wisdom and life force energy. And in some of the previous episodes that we've had with Robyn, you can go back and listen. I highly recommend the first interview I ever did with her. Maybe I'll put the link in the show notes. That was deeply moving, all about her brother and her brother's passing and how he really taught her, Robyn, how to even when life is hard, how to be happy. And she really has taken that on as her assignment. And
Mm.
that is infused with everything that she shows up for. And she shows up 110% for everything that she does. And it's incredible. So we're going to start with alignment. So, Robyn, as an actor, a teacher of acting, what does alignment feel like to you in your body? Because so many people in the spiritual fields talk now about this word alignment. And it's interesting how we can relate to it, how we can interpret it. So, how does it feel in your body, in your craft, and in your life? And then
Mm.
there's a follow up to that. But I think let's just start with that. Just know that I have a lot of questions. So.
Yes. Okay, great. In a word, alignment in the world of arts and crafts and in my own experience, alignment translates to presence.
Mm,
Presence. Like literally, my pores are open. I'm sensitized to the smells, the sounds. I can feel my feet on the floor. I can feel and hear my heartbeat. Alignment is coming into the power and the possibility of our fullest presence.
I love that. I feel that you've dropped us in. I was in a huge rush to get
Yeah,
us going. I'm like, let's get to the good stuff. And then you said that, I'm like, oh, be here. Just be here.
presence. Yeah.
Okay, and also I just have to add, ever since you were on the Spring Equinox and International Day of Happiness panel, which people have given me feedback about, we all love, and it has stayed with me and others, what you said about this is it. This is it. And when you talk about presence, that is the essence of this is it.
Now, and then now, and then now, and 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 now, amplified ad infinitum, such that you actually are in the aliveness of life while it's happening, and the fullness of the moment by moment by moment, now and now and now, by coming into presence and embodiment.
Yeah, and that reminds me of the times that I birthed my children. The only thing I could do to actually move the baby down was to be and to meet the in the face of that type of that level of pain was now and now and now and now. And what I became so aware of was I literally cannot think about the past moment. I literally cannot. And I cannot think about the next moment. I am forced to be in the now. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, how much easier this would have been, and how much I want to in the future be in alignment, be present, deepen my practices so
Yeah.
that in these moments of heightened pain or joy or what have you, they're so, connected, that I can really get through and enjoy and be present. Like, oh my gosh. And that's what you do in your acting, and that's what you teach in your acting. So here's the follow-up is, can you, Robyn, remember a time when everything just clicked, when the universe seemed to choreograph the perfect scene, the perfect moment?
One of the moments that pops, and we share this field of experience. It was after I did, it was a transformational 3-day course over a weekend, the Landmark Forum.
Ah,
And talk about coming into presence. The design of the workshop, of the technology they use, is to free yourself from the constraints and the stories of the past, right?
yes.
And to sort of reconfigure your system to be pulled into the possibility of the future you want to create rather
Yes.
than limited and imprisoned and dragged down by the past. So after this 3-day experience, people call the Landmark Forum all kinds of things. They call it a brainwashing. And I say to that, I needed a good brain scrub, by the way.
Mm-mm.
We go to get our cars washed. I
Yeah.
I'm washing my clothes right now. Like, I really needed that at the time. And going through that weekend, those stories that I had been living and dying over in my heart,
Yep.
uh, disappeared.
Yeah.
There was no chokehold on me about the way that life was. The future was, in a sense, wide open to literally anything. And
Yeah.
that was sensed in my body as if, I mean, if you can imagine the pile-on of stories since you're 2 years old or 5,
Mm.
or even before, just the pile-on, like
Yes.
literally taking a 2-ton dump truck and
Yep.
ousting it
Yeah.
from the corporal being. If there is such a thing as human beings flying, I felt I was levitating.
Mm.
And it coincided with going into an audition for a pilot for a Fox comedy, which was going to shoot at the Sony lot here in Los Angeles. And I remember going to this final callback after many rounds of auditions.
Yeah.
I was now going in front of a room of about 18 executives that were holding like notepads to take
Mm-hmm.
notes. And they're in suits and they're
Not intimidating at all.
right, not at all. These men and women in like suits with notepads, and it's called a network test.
Mhm.
So by this time, I had already been to the initial call with casting. Then I met the producers of the show. I auditioned for them. Then the producer said, "We really like you. We'd like the studio that's going to make this, right? So to see you, Sony. Let's let them see you." I auditioned for the Sony people, and then there's the test, and that's when Fox, the network, comes in and says, "Before we take this person on for the next, I just signed a 7-year contract. We're going to test her."
Yeah.
I, and to me, Siri, at this point, after having relieved myself of like 2,000 pounds of ancient generational stuck weight and grief and storytelling that had
And meaning making.
and that had just had been so crushing and heavy and weighty. I literally had to, while I was waiting in the waiting room, the whole thing literally occurred to me like it was so hilarious. The Hollywood game in that, it was so clear for me. Like the game of like play acting, like what I'm going and I'm going to talk and they're going to test me on my, like it occurred to me as like the funniest thing. And I started laughing and there were people around who were also being tested. And I was like, I got to get out of this room because I'm cracking up. I go into the bathroom and I start laughing my face off.
Yeah.
And then they call me into the room and I'm like, great. And I'm a kid in a sandbox. I'm like, well, we're just going to be in a play. I am in a sandbox. I'm going to say some funny jokes and you're going to laugh. And then I'm going to like, let's go. And I sat down and I did the thing. And I was laughing inside the whole time. Right. And I left and and I left and they literally like, and then shortly thereafter, I think I might've been the last one. And then they kind of followed me. They followed me to the elevator and like, that was so, these executives in suits. And they were like, that was so good. That was so, wow, like that.
Uh-huh.
Right. And in the past,
Yeah.
me going through the process of casting, producers, the studio test, the network test, the signing of a contract for 7 years if this show goes through for $27,000 an episode, if this show goes through, right? Like in the past,
Mm.
again, the 2,000 pounds of weightiness would have dragged me into this vortex of fear,
Mm.
shame, terror,
Mhm.
discomfort, and paralyzation.
Wow.
Through this work, which brought me into alignment,
Yeah.
into presence. That's the function. That's the design. It gets you out of the past and into the now of nows, being called by a future possibility. There was nothing to do but play and enjoy. There was just nothing to do. And so there has never been anything easier than getting paid. But like they gave the job, they gave me a check for $45,000. It paid my rent for the year. And it's never been easier. It was never a simpler, like magic, right? And
So,
that's
so you just have to have the
why
landmark moment. You just have to have the landmark moment every
I
time
know. And that's what my
before
agent
you
said
go
too.
into
I
an
know. I know. And my
audition.
agent said the same exact thing. My agents are like, do that again. And that, and it's so interesting, Siri, because that kind of thing about now how I have to, it would be the exact kind of thing that would pull me right back, right?
Yes, yes.
That's why this work is never ending, right? Because we
Like
have
you'd be like, what socks was I wearing? What
to,
food did I eat?
yeah,
Like,
like how do I recreate that, which is the
yeah.
opposite of presence.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
really is an ongoing, almost surgical procedure to bring ourselves into the now, into that alignment. And I just have to add this, that
Yeah.
recently, and as recently as this morning, talking to
Yeah.
my fiance, Billy, and weeping and letting go of the next layer of terror and fear and shame and guilt and ancient, trauma,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
And like sort of the peeling back the layers, like that next level, that next layer.
Yes.
I had you with me in the conversation with him and just through the whole, it's been quite an extraordinary morning. And
I was with you, me in particular, or God?
well, you as God, Siri, the North Star guiding light, blazing comet goddess across
When
the
you said I
sky,
have you, who are you talking about?
you,
Who are you talking about? You talking about me? You
God,
looking at me?
you, are you talking to me? You talking to me?
Oh, I was with you.
And
Oh.
you were just talking about the first time we connected on the level for your podcast, the authentic
Mm-hmm.
creative. And I was weeping because I knew that to get to that place, to embody that authenticity, not only as an artist, but as a human being, I was going to have to go into the hurt and I was going to have to cry about like a bucket of tears, like a
Mm-hmm.
bucket of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sharing this with Billy, and because I wanted him to know that I was okay. It was nothing about him. My
Yeah.
body was on a journey
Yeah.
to the portal through which I could be in that authentic Siri. And that word is in my mind, brain, soul, and heart because of you. Authentic creative, right? And so that processing happened sort of before this, sort of an hour before this podcast. And so when I say our North Star, our guiding light Siri, it's like no joke in terms of what you awaken in people in terms of the possibility for truly live. I mean, it's the title of your podcast, authentic, for truly living authentically is unmatched. And I've been in therapy for 25 years and hypnotherapy and all the EMDR and landmarks and a year of transformation, all the things, right? And there's no soul that I know on earth that has had that kind of impact in terms of the way what you share and what you want to share and embody and pray and bless others to embody that authenticity. Like there's no one in the world that has really gotten me to get that sort of lesson and opportunity more than you. So thank you. And it's something that like, it's all I want to do, just like come into that congruency and alignment so that we can be in the sandbox and play with our friends and just like have to go into the bathroom because we're laughing too hard and it's not appropriate, you know? So it's like, thank
I
you.
will
I
do
just say thank
my absolute best to receive the enormity of that compliment. To fully actually receive it is
No, I
like,
don't know that it's a compliment. It's actually just a mirror reflection of
okay. And I
you.
was just gonna say, like, okay, well, clearly, like, you're mirroring, you're seeing yourself, you're
I,
seeing your
it's actually
beauty.
my experience. I'm
Yes.
literally in my mind thinking of you while I'm crying a bucket of tears, thinking this is good. Let it up.
That's what I'm going for, Robin. I'm like,
But
how
because
can I get people to cry as much as possible, as often as possible?
so that they can
And so think of
metabolize.
me
Yeah,
and
so that, so that, so that they can metabolize and
yes,
get underneath
that's
it
the word.
to the joy.
That's right.
It's
Yes,
because
metabolize it. That is the
joy,
word of the day.
yeah, is underneath all of that. The 1,000 bucks of tears underneath all of that. No kidding. You know it like you know it is the profound, inimitable joy of it's where our souls want to live. So thank you
Mm.
for being my partner in love light in this mission that you are on. And I take it on with you. And I'm so admiring and grateful that you are such a guiding light in
Oh
that
my
perfect.
gosh. Robin, you okay, you not what do you say? I need new socks. I need new socks
Well, if
now.
I knock you, we're knocking your socks off.
I
So I'm
need
gonna
new
get you a pair
socks.
of
I need
socks.
a whole pack.
You need a pack. You
A
need
whole pack of new socks because you knocked all of them
a pack,
off.
all the socks.
You continue to knock off all the socks. I've lost all socks.
We got socks. I'm getting you socks for Hanukkah. Hanukkah, Chris. I'll get you the holiday pack. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. I can't fully encompass my gratitude in words. I'm just gonna say thank you, and you're the sun, the moon, and the stars. I've said that before. And yeah, I mean, thank you for reflecting all of this to me, and I will continue to soak this in. And so for now, let's move on to
Okay.
this question.
Yeah.
On the flip side, what does misalignment, and this is actually what I was just thinking about too,
Yeah.
because as soon as you start reflecting to me what you see, I go, oh, well, really, but what you don't realize is this, this, and this, right? And that's our kind of default mechanism. But what does misalignment look like for you? And how do you know when you're off? I
Mm,
mean, I think that's probably quite obvious when we're off, but what tools or practices help you come back
yeah.
to that? I'm levitating, and it doesn't always have to be I'm
Yeah.
levitating, does it? But maybe it's just a baby step to
Yeah.
come back to presence, to alignment.
Yeah.
So how do you know you're off? What does it feel like? How do you come back?
That's a great, deep, rich question. I can tell I'm off in my body, in the electrical currents in my body. I feel a lot of tightness. I
Mm.
feel things trapped. I will often feel physical pain in my throat. I will feel
Like something's needing to be communicated.
yes, physical pain here, like a lump in the throat. We've heard of it,
Yeah.
talk away. The chest, and like there's a weight on my sternum, like in my heart, in between my like the breastbone. It's like it, right? So I have a lot of bodily sensations. Um, and and the thing that the so to answer the question about what is the misalignment, we've talked a lot about it a little bit, but I guess I could boil it down to the self-judgment and the self-condemnation,
Mhm.
which is brought up in my thinking based on stories from the past.
Okay, and also I'm rereading the Four Agreements with my son Bodhi,
Oh,
and
I love
there's a line where it's saying,
that. Yeah,
we abuse ourselves more than anyone else.
right,
No one abuses us more than we abuse ourselves.
right,
And
right.
so that's that judgment and that criticism.
Yeah. Two things to get out of that:
Yes.
being around people
Mm,
that actually do mirror
yeah.
your soul center, right?
Yep. So important.
And the choice in that you have.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Your life is essentially a network of conversations with different people.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is that web? What does that network look like? And is it a match for my soul's highest purpose? Or does it spiral me downward into judgmental and painful thinking that makes me want to just off myself just for the day, but just go back to bed?
Yeah.
So I know this sounds like so, how many times have we heard this? But two
But
things.
truth is truth.
Truth is truth. Remembering to remember I'm lovable, and like a practice, which is feels so kind of bleh, mushy sometimes, but like I love you practice, like actually
Mm.
self-care, being self-love and honoring the soul that you are, and also really standing guard at the doorways of my mind in terms of what I am going to give my attention to,
Yes.
practice of taking my mind back.
Right.
Because the opposite of alignment is dysregulation, as I shared in the
Hmm.
body, that tightness, those lumps, it's this dysregulation. And the thoughts are crummy.
Hmm.
And by focusing on a podcast with you, going to listen to your show, going to listen to Abraham Hicks,
Yeah.
taking a class at Landmark for whatever that is, that I can do. So, and it does at times take something to get up and do what we know. Meditation, I know we hear about this 6 ways to Sunday, but
Yep.
I used to meditate like it was cool, but now I meditate like my life depends on it.
Oh, wow. Yes, because it does. Yes.
Yeah, the way my life goes depends on it.
Yeah.
And, without drugs and without psilocybin and ayahuasca yet, I am
Sure.
through newer and deeper practices, opening up portals.
Yeah.
And this is, where our messaging last night, the voice memos between us, that are kind of opening up this kind of cosmic kind of alignment where mystical and miraculous things can occur that kind of make you feel like you're on drugs. And I haven't done drugs, but I kind of imagine when people have
Hmm.
shared like the things that occur to them and the confluences,
Yes.
there is a path forward through meditation where I'm starting to experience like the antidote to all that constriction and negative interject is to open up the portal to receive cosmic love,
Mm.
self-love. The charity starts
Yes.
at home. So it's
Yes.
both. It's twofold. It's on the
Yes.
micro and it's also on the macro. And the discipline comes into just doing that. It's so funny. Like discipline is self, like, yes, discipline is self.
Hmm.
Like, in fact, discipline is self-love. That is
Right.
how you take care of yourself. And then also not being afraid when the emotion starts to come up. For instance, this
Yes. Yes.
I was sharing with Billy that I had been holding a lot in for a while. He even said it. He was talking about we were talking about the last month. We were just sort of
Hmm.
sharing about love and life and how's it going.
Yeah.
And I was sort of crying this bucket of tears in the last 24 hours. And I said to him, I've been staving this off because I thought I would start and not be able to stop, but it's not true.
Yep.
There actually is an end to it. And
Yes.
so the practice of remembering that, like there is an end. It might be 1,000 buckets, but there is
Right.
an end to it. And I think the reason I resist going into it is for fear. It's this fear, unconscious or conscious, that it will overtake me. I'll never do
Yes. And
anything
that's one of
else.
the most common reasons that people do not feel their feelings.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
So that's exciting to talk about and to experience like in my body, because
Yes.
I found that I was congested and
Yeah.
with congestion comes the thoughts and the self-condemnation and the shame and the guilt, all
Yeah.
the stories. It gets bigger and heavier.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, that's the gift, because that weight does more comes up to be released. And when you remember that there is a bottom, there is a bottom. I mean, here I am with you an hour later. I washed my face. All the mascara was everywhere. I should have taken a before and after picture. But, all that to say, like, here we are, present and accounted for, embodied, like, here for it. And like that's what's available on the other side when we choose to, as you teach, live authentically, right?
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is the more we allow ourselves to go there because we know that there's a bottom, like you said, the more we empty our bucket, if you want to call it, the less buckets there are to fill, the more often we empty it. So giving ourselves the opportunity more and more and more and more often so that we can just cry in the middle of a presentation and then keep going and then later on cry again for 90 seconds. And a lot of times it's actually only up to 90 seconds of
Yeah.
feeling the
Yeah.
rage, of
Yeah.
feeling the pain, the sting, the jealousy, the hurt, whatever, right? So I think we're all, the people that are in the self growth world, starting to understand the importance of this embodiment work, of this somatic work, of this nervous system regulation work, of this nervous system healing work, and that it all is stored in the body, that the body holds the score, the body keeps the score, and that we are starting to become more and more somatically intelligent around, oh, let me just cry,
Yeah.
get it out,
Yeah.
and keep going.
Yeah.
Because the old conditioning that we all have in our DNA ancestrally and just in society and what's, shown to us is, and it's still there. I still experience myself not feeling comfortable when my kid is having a meltdown
Yeah.
sometimes. If it's
Yeah.
not convenient, it's not convenient to have a meltdown.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And also, oh my gosh, what if we just give it 90 seconds, have the meltdown, and then keep going? I think this is where we're all headed, the people that are in the world of consciousness. So
Yeah.
thank you for articulating. And that's why I love having you on the podcast, Robyn, because you're such a master at articulating these things. So here's my next question for you. We hear a lot about creating our reality in
Yeah.
both spiritual and personal development spaces. And as someone who's worked in storytelling and in embodiment,
Yeah.
what do you believe about that? Are we co-writing the script? Are we improvising with something bigger?
That's a gorgeous question. I believe there is an irrefutable, undeniable, scientific, energetic oneness. My logical brain and my heart center knows this to be true. We kind of forget it and play the game of life and get attached to things.
Yeah.
And I am going to ask you a question about this later because it has to do with attachment. I would love to hear from you about this.
Okay.
It's you're a specialist on this, but the
Okay.
as we all are. The I almost forgot the question.
I was just
How
I
do
was
you
just asking, and
storytelling?
because
Yeah.
it was kind of trifold. We hear a lot about creating our reality
Yes,
in
creating our
spiritual
reality.
development spaces. So, as someone who's worked in storytelling and embodiment, what do you believe about that? About creating our reality? Are we co-writing the script? Are we improvising with something bigger?
Co-creating, co-creating. I think I am you. I am the script. I am the writer. I am the ink on the paper. I am the audience member. I am the casting director. I am this pen. I am this cap. I am the lid on my cup of tea. I,
So to someone who doesn't understand what
okay,
you're saying,
okay.
break it down for us. What does this mean? I am this, I am that. Like, I get it, I get you. But
There seems to be, I think there's one life. I think there's just life.
yeah,
And I think there's this thinly veiled disguise of separation through the body bags,
yeah,
which are also mostly made of light and energy, right?
yeah.
There's, there is a part of our brain which perceives, and this is science, and I'm not going to get into the weeds of it, but
It's
there's
good, it's good. Keep going.
part of our brain that is designed to perceive us as separate from other,
Right.
that somehow this skin separates you from others. It has to do with Darwinistic principles of survival of the fittest, and that separation keeps us alive. But it's really a disguise, this separation. We are porous, as you know, we can see that. But if you go under the microscopes into the lab, you'll see that actually on the atomic level, we're 99% energy, right? People are knowing this, but there's a knowing this and then knowing this and then actually living it
Yeah.
and what that can foster. And that's what I'm talking about with the oneness and
Yep.
speaking into people's listening, which is cyclical because you are the listener, you are the speaker, you're in confluence with everything and everyone and every event around you, and seeing how in tapping into the oneness, we get to project and create like the world is our oyster
Uh-huh. Got it.
because
I've
it
I've
is.
viscerally, I've spiritually, viscerally, mentally, emotionally felt what you're describing on mushrooms.
Okay.
And I also think you feel it because you're so tapped in. You feel that same thing that I've felt when I'm on mushrooms. And I've felt it in spiritual experiences
Yeah.
too. But it's like,
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
oh, that woman over there, that's physically, literally over there, that's me. I felt that. Like
Yeah.
on another level.
Really. Like in when you were like you felt like you were in her body, or you just felt
No,
there was no
I just knew like, oh, we're all one. This is all one. The consciousness, like she's a representation of another particle pieces of me. And I'm over here. I know I'm over here, but I also know that whatever she's doing, whether it's making me happy or unhappy or triggering me, like that's also me.
Yeah.
It's like, it was like a deeper, wider understanding of that.
Yeah. When you talk about this, like, are we creating it all then? And like, how are we co-creating if
Yeah.
we are all one? So here's an example of that. In terms of consciousness being just one huge infinite ball of consciousness, right? Infinite, eternal, just
Yeah. Like this,
only
like,
there's one aliveness,
yeah.
not separate alivenesses of the universe. There's one aliveness that is the ever expanding universe, right? Like that's just science and cosmic law and all that jazz.
Hmm.
And then there are these moments where like gobsmacking. I'll give you an example. So I adore my acting students, and I think of them all the time whenever I'm out in the world or I see things that they might be right for or audition for. So I'm going in to audition for a play at a beautiful theater, and I see on the season that they're going to be auditioning for a play that I know my student is he's the one, like the one. And he hasn't worked in a big theater like this before, but he's so good and he's been developing himself. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. We're going to call him Eddie.
Yeah.
So, um, I walk into the audition, and even though I'm getting prepared to go in myself to audition for a different play,
Hmm.
I get on my phone and I start texting him these long text messages. I was like, hey, Eddie, I'm at the theater. They're doing this play. Remember when we worked on this in class? You're excellent for this role. They're seeing people for this role. This is a long, you know how I leave long
Yeah.
messages. I'm like, please, like, get your headshot here. Here's the casting director's email.
Hmm.
And then I took pictures of the casting notice where he could send the email, and sent like 3 or 4 pictures about the show when they were doing the performances. So for a half an hour,
You're
like,
doing the
oh,
mitzvah.
I'm doing this. I'm thinking about this guy for a half
Yeah.
hour before I go into my audition. And I'm so excited. And I'm thinking about it. And I'm texting him and sending him 5 different emails with all the info, or not emails, but texts or whatever.
Yeah.
Texting, all the stuff, the pictures. And then I send, right? I send it all. And then I go into my audition. It's fantabulous, so magical because I'm not even thinking about myself.
Yeah.
about myself. I'm just in the oneness, right?
Yeah,
Playground
yes.
is for everyone.
You're
Everyone's
putting light
invited.
in the world.
Everyone's invited. We're all invited. Come to the party. So I go in, blah, blah, blah. I do an audition that does end up booking me, paying work.
Of
That's
course.
there. And then acting class is 2 nights from that day of the audition
Uh-huh.
I sent out.
Yes.
And like I said, I hadn't seen this actor, we'll call him Eddie still, for like 2 years, right? But I had
Yeah. He shows up.
so 2 days later, he shows up to class, which at that point isn't surprising because I've just messaged him 10 messages. I've been telling him about a job that he's perfect for. Like he shows up to class to audit, which, I
Yeah.
have actors that come back to audit all the time. That isn't so unusual. I would actually, in fact, when he walked into the room, I said to him, oh my gosh, like, I'm so glad you're here. And I kind of
Yeah.
up because I knew, like, I was like, he had gotten my messages and then he decided he wanted to come and audit a class. I was like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. Yay, 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 yay. And I said, so you got all my text messages, right? And he goes, what text messages?
Wow.
And I said, what do you mean, what text messages? I said, why are you here? Didn't you get my text? Because in one of those messages, I said, come to class, we'll work on the part, right?
Yeah.
One of the messages I sent him 2 days ago was like, come to class, we'll work on the part. So I wasn't surprised when he showed up, but he had never received that text message. He had changed his phone number a year ago. Not a single
Wow.
one hit his inbox or email, anything, his text, none of it, none of it, none of it.
Wow.
He's like,
Wow.
what are you talking about? I was like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Like, how did you know? He said, I just wanted to come to class. I was like, OMG, what's your phone number, man? Because I have text messages I have to resend to it right now. We go through the class. My mind is blown. I'm going to tell you one more thing that happened that night, which is also mind blowing. But to cut to the chase with that story. So he comes to the class. He ends up getting an audition for this theater. He goes in, he gets a part to understudy one of the leads, and then the lead's going out, and then he's going to go on, and the rest is history. The fact that there was never an actual text message communication that he ever even heard about and did not hear about, none of that energy came through. But can I get a hell yeah? It went through. Signed, sealed, delivered, but not through physical means. And that's a moment. And there have been so many moments like that, Siri. And I like talking about them because as we were sort of conversing, I want to amplify this because
Right.
that is how we start to do the wizardry. Do that wizardry where I can just think it and I can just think ping pong table and I stumble into one that someone has on a garage sale, whatever, front lawn. You know what I mean? Like that kind of.
Yeah, but are you thinking ping pong table because it's about to happen, or
I mean,
it's all one thing, right? It's all happening at
yeah,
once. It's
yeah,
everything all at once.
it is everything all at once. And I'm jamming on that. Like that event and others like it. Like I just want to live in that space. Like
Yes.
okay, so that same night, right before the class started, so we're at the Victory Theater Center. This is the same night. And the person that is performing in a show, it's two theater complex. She's performing in a show right next door, attached.
Uh-huh.
He
Uh-huh.
comes over before it's like before showtime, before my class, and she says, and it's my friend, Ann Noble. Okay, now Ann, now you're on the podcast. And over and she's like, oh my gosh, it's you. And it's like, yeah, I'm teaching class here. We've worked together. We're collaborators. She's the best. We support each other in the world of arts and crafts. She's incredible. I go see her stuff, all the things. She's seen right. And so she's like, oh my God, I'm in the show next door. We have our first like a preview. There's going to be an audience. And I just came over to say that like use the backstage space and probably you won't hear us until the end of the applause and just letting you know we're doing the thing. I was like, oh, and you won't hear us because and we'll leave those dressing rooms. And then we start talking about like catching up, like, what's up? This is like moments before the class is coming. She's like, what's up? What are you doing? She's like, oh my gosh, I'm running all over town. Oh my gosh. And by the way, I haven't seen Ann Noble in person for 4.5 years, like before COVID.
Wow.
I hadn't seen her in person since before,
Wow.
right? And so she's like, yeah, we're catching up. I'm so glad to see all the things. She's like, yeah, it's such a roller coaster. I'm doing this play and then I'm teaching. And then I'm doing a play at this theater company. It's called A Noise Within. It's the theater company that I
Mm.
went to when I
Mm-hmm.
started thinking about my student, Eddie. And when I went in and I actually booked that work that I told you about, right? And so she's like, yeah. And she says to me, I'm actually doing a show there. And I was like, oh my gosh. She's like, yeah, we start rehearsals. I don't know how I'm going to do it because I'm doing this show and I have to work out the schedule because we start rehearsals next Tuesday. And I said to her, wait a second. I start rehearsals next Tuesday at that theater. And she said, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean? She said, I'm starring. She says to me, I'm starring in this play, The Skin of Our Teeth by Thornton Wilder. I said, I've just been hired to be your understudy.
Wow. Hmm.
This is the same night where a scene pops in because I not text messaged him 40 texts to come to class, the whole thing, right? The
Yeah.
chances of seeing the whole thing, the theater,
Yes.
they cast me, they've cast her, she's next door, I haven't seen her in 5 years. The whole thing is bananas. And maybe it's not. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. Maybe it ain't bananas. Maybe that's where the oneness is, where we're supposed to live. And it takes bringing ourselves into alignment, into presence to be awake for it. Like,
Yes.
be
Yes.
awake to it. What do you think?
Yes.
What do you
Yes.
think? What do you think?
I think that you are so focused on the magical that you draw it to you. That
Mm,
you're so focused on the possibility and the present moment that the synchronicities can't help but, because you're in alignment, because you're in present, they
yeah.
can't help but manifest themselves. And like the more you said, I want to be in this more and more, and you're already doing it, you're already in it, it's already happening all the time, you just said. So it's that thing of looking for a red car and then more and more and more and more red cars. Yeah.
Question. Yes, feeds right into this. How do I not get See, the access to this phenomena being
Yeah.
your access to it
Mm-hmm.
has to do with something we've all heard, non-attachment, right?
Ah,
Right?
yeah.
This
Mm-hmm.
thing about wanting, like desire, like wanting, like it hurts,
Yep.
and it winds back because by the very nature of wanting something or someone, you have
Outside
Yes,
yourself. You've
put them
separated.
over there,
Yeah.
separate.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're no longer in the oneness. You have,
Mm-hmm.
by virtue of the fact that you want it, have created distance from it, right?
Yeah.
All that sometimes like attachment, like I really want to get that job. I really want to get that part. So much of the work is dismantling that attachment. So I did want to ask you, like, how do you dismantle attachment? And the other question, the follow up to that is, I have also, Siri, had the experience of melting attachment to such a degree that I could never want anything or anyone or any for the rest of my life. And that has scared me at times
Mm.
because I'm so addicted and used to the feeling of wanting,
Yeah.
eating, that when it's not there, it's almost like at
Well,
times,
I think the dream, I think as Amber Lillystrom says, the dream is in you, it's for you. And so I think the dream is in you. Like you were built for the things that you want, and that's why you want them.
but
The
how do you
things like the
that
things that your
attachment?
heart of
Yeah,
heart, your
yeah,
soul wants, not the things your
yes,
ego wants,
that's
right?
the
The things your heart of heart, your soul wants are made for you. And so in the surrender, we are opening to what that which is already truth, that which we are born with. I'm born to be an actor. I'm born to help these acting students. I am born to go to Hungary, like do this play. I'm born to be friends with Anne and all these things. And I don't think it's necessarily like destiny, but I think there is a certain inevitability of things, I believe. And so in that surrender, you're getting out of your own way. And I think that like 99% of what we're talking about when we're talking about alignment is getting out of our own way. And when we get out of our own way and we trust the unfolding of the universe and what we're literally born for, like the North Star thing, like we become the star, the North Star becomes us. And so I think that desire in Buddhism is a healthy thing. We say
Desire.
earthly desires equal enlightenment
Mm.
because desire is a healthy motivator.
It means
And
from
we
God.
have,
Desire. The Latin
yeah,
desire means of God. Day
yes,
of sire is the God. It's of God. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, like, I think it's embracing because you are so charismatically hungry for life. And the desire is intrinsic in that, and I think that is who you are, is that hunger for life is like that's who Robyn is and who most of us are when we shed those layers you were talking about earlier of shedding. And then it's like, so when we're in this like pure like, oh, I just want to experience and enjoy life, I
Mhm.
think that's what you're always in. And so I don't think it's um, judging the desire, and I'm not saying you're saying this, but I just in general, I don't think it's judging the desire or trying to squash or dismantle the desire so much as it's using the desire as we do in Buddhism is we use the desire to be the motivator, and it doesn't actually matter what the desire is, to bring us to the altar. So what is your altar, right? And so for you, your altar is different than what it is for me, and it changes sometimes. My altar, yeah, it's still sometimes the Gohanzen, but it's also breath work is my altar.
Mm.
Now, like that is my access point. So for Robyn, you're talking about meditation. And also, I think what you channel when you do podcasts, you channel when you are acting, you channel when you're teaching, that's your altar. And so I think it's like being in the quotes zone or, in your zone, in your flow at your altar, right? That moment you described in the beginning of this episode where you're just laughing and it's
Yeah.
all play.
Yeah.
You are still doing and desiring to have a good outcome,
Yes.
but you were also just like completely unattached in that moment of
Yeah.
playfulness.
I'm not
And I think
worried. Yeah.
it was both. Like you
Yeah.
didn't lose the fact that you desire to have a great outcome.
The transformation was that I had no worry about the way it would go. I wasn't worried at all. It didn't matter. That's the part. That
Yeah.
was
You released the how.
it didn't matter if I got it. I didn't need it. I mean, I know we hear this, but I didn't need to get that job. I was having the best time. I was laughing hysterically.
Yeah.
And you know, I wasn't actually, and I know we hear this, but I was not actually attached to the outcome, even though
And
the outcome was $45,000. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking
and
about it.
I think you didn't need it because you were so filled up with your own love. You were so
Freedom,
filled up with your
freedom.
own acceptance of self because you had just unearthed
Yeah.
and let go of so much shame and guilt and sadness and grief and resentment and blah, blah. You had released, you were so light,
Yeah.
you were so full of your own being. So therefore you didn't need it.
Yeah.
And therefore the thing that was your divine, like, I'm meant for this, that you
Raphael.
can't get rid of even if you try, and right, like that was able to come through, and they didn't feel like you needed it, so therefore they wanted you.
Wow. Wow.
We do need to wrap up,
Yeah, I know.
and I could go forever talking to you
I
about
know.
this
I'm
stuff.
speechless with joy and admiration for you and love.
Oh.
So it's perfect because I have nothing else to say because I'm because I'm speechless for once in my life.
Well, guys who are listening, thanks for coming on the Magic Carpet ride with us. And hopefully this was fun for you. You know, can't see why it wouldn't be, but I think it's pretty fun. Um, you are so very welcome to, if you're interested in acting, go check out Robyn's classes in Burbank, California. If
We're
you're
actually
interested,
now, it was started in Burbank, but we are all over different
oh,
people
okay, great.
in English, and we're all over the World Wide Web. I'm teaching online for people in America, for people in the UK, Budapest, all our European friends. We have times for you too.
Hey,
Yeah.
65 countries that have listened to this podcast, you
Ah,
get to go to Robyn's acting class, even if you don't consider yourself to be an actor, or is this like specifically for professionals?
It's so anyone that is even creatively curious can always get in touch with me and literally just sit in. And it might be the first acting class
Oh, cool.
you've ever experienced. But I promise you, you will be fully lit up. You will be creatively nourished and incredibly inspired by this group of artists
Ooh.
just in passion and on their purpose and going for it with all their love and might, like Hercules. And, or if you do want to actually get on the court, even if you're relatively new, you can get in touch and I will send you some juicy material, a speech, something from Hamlet, anything that, creatively your heart desires. And we can start to work together on something like that. And I can't wait for all of it. I'm already cooking up ideas for what,
Okay, and also,
yeah,
if you're enjoying Robyn, you can go on to the Daily Joyride podcast, wherever you get podcasts.
yeah.
And you can,
And
if you want to be entertained, you can watch her TV and film.
yeah, if you like those, if you like TV and film, if you like those kinds of things, you're welcome to tune in. The last thing we just shot was FBI International. And the next thing that's coming out is the podcast that I created. And Siri was my guest, and she's no. How many syllables is that? But you get the picture. Oh my gosh, Siri, thank you. I feel like I'm just bathed in your loving light and your wisdom and your soul and your joy. And I love you to the ends of time and then beyond that. And
Oh.
ah,
Well, since we are all in the oneness,
yes,
I am I am already you receiving me, receiving you. You are me, I am
I
you.
feel it.
I'm loving myself, you're loving yourself, I'm loving you, you're loving me. We're
Yes,
loving the listeners.
yes, yes, yes.
We're the what I'm trying to say is, without being so silly, is that Robyn's love and joy of me is the same love and joy she really genuinely has for all humans. So if you're listening to this and you want to get into her world, like she so loves people, and
You
you
said it,
feel it.
Siri.
You feel it.
You said that this is it piece, just to toggle back. I think it is a love affair, this thing of being alive. It is a love affair. And if this is it, and this is what we've got, and this is it, and it's everything, it's availing ourselves. And you could just, you're brought to your knees that we get to have this experience today. I mean, it will change my life and the course of time and history that we had this conversation and the reverberations of it. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you, listeners. Oh my God, you young creative sprites bursting with creativity and curiosity and joy. Or listen, young at heart, let's play. Let's play.
I love you guys. Keep expanding your capacity to feel good one breath at a time. Keep coming back to your alignment, loving you, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.